Yes, Shweta, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicky.
So let's jump into part two. We have got wonderful response from the listeners with regard to part one, and they all are eager to listen more towards your story, your perspectives, your nuances. Before we ended part one, we were talking about the hypocritical nature of the society per se. Please go on.
Yes. So, not just of the society, it's of us as well,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
But like I was saying, that, when it comes to our own people, our own scenario, family, we will be, dealing in a different manner. But when it is someone else, it's very easy to, give भाषण ज्ञान विशेष टिप्पणी जो कि हमारे देश में हर कोई बड़े आराम से दे सकता है. So that is where the hypocrisy comes. Like we were talking about the LGBTQ and how much people are being open about it. I don't think that's where it comes. You are okay till the time it isn't someone else. The ball is in someone else's court. But when it's someone, a child will go to their parent and say something. I think, first the bomb. It's like a bomb that has just got bursted. People
mhm,
will not be talking to the kids. They will be subjected to, go to Babaji and let's do puja and let's do
mhm,
this, ye mantra kar lo, wo kar lo. So all those things are there. I've had many friends who are, and when they came out clean to their parents, it was different. And I had seen the family in a very different light before, till the time they did not come out. And when they did come out of the closet, it was a completely different family dynamic.
mhm.
So hypocrisy is, I think, everywhere. It is there, really deep rooted. कि जब तक it is someone else, it's easy to deal with it, understand. But when it happens to you, it's a different story.
And there is another point which is coming inside my head is that definitely a person is going towards and trying to face the society in a certain manner.
Mm,
But there is another point which is coming is how you face yourself, how
right,
you connect and disconnect with yourself to form a new connection, a kind of an
right.
learning which is happening inside you. What about that? How that trans-
True, very true. I think, like, when earlier in part one, we were talking about the social stigmas and stuff like
Mhm,
that.
mhm,
So when you're saying that, people like to come across, we all want to. I have seen majority of the time people want to come across, very educated, very learned, very disciplined, very wise. They want to come across. Now, are they really into that? And that is where. So in their personal life, in their personal daily routine, they're a completely different personality, a person.
mhm, mhm.
They don't
So they
even
are trying to
identify
create a
with.
narrative per se.
Absolutely, they want to create a certain image about themselves. And you will see it in very small small things. Oh, hum aise hain, oh, I do this. I'm not saying everyone is in falling into that category,
Mhm,
but we all want to be coming across as likable. We all want to have that sense of, you know belongingness, that, oh, we all want to associate ourselves with certain group ideology, whether it is in terms of your geography, or your culture, your belief, your religion. We
mhm.
all, and I think that is where that sense of belongingness to be appreciated, we a lot of times, are creating a certain narrative about ourselves, even though we do not, have even one iota of it within us. But yeah, that
Family
is
and
that is how I
society
feel.
also conditions us into a different
Yes.
role altogether. And it takes a lot of time to find that power voice within you to break free from all the shackles which are there, the shackles of slumber, and then to arise, open your eyes, and see a new world altogether. It's almost like the allegory of Plato, you're coming out of the cave, right?
Yeah, and imagine to break all those shackles. Sometimes a person literally has spent more than half of their life,
Exactly.
and that's the time, and then you wonder that, oh my God, what the hell was I doing all these years? And then they say, oh, it's too late, though it's never too late.
Hmm.
But yeah, sometimes I feel, it's crazy. It's crazy what everyone, if they can have the ability and the power to, dive deep within themselves, to realize and, actually see what their really core values are, and whether what they are doing in their life, whether it is in terms of their relation, whether it is in terms of their work, in terms of their experiences. Are those values really crossing? Are their values in alignment with what you're doing? And if they are not, that means there is a certain conditioning that you have started following, and certain belief system that you have started following, because it's a comfort zone.
Hmm. When I mentioned this word power of voice to you, Shweta,
Hmm.
how it resonates with you? What is the first thing which is coming to you?
Okay, the first thing that comes to me in power of voice is me, myself, like what I really believe, my
Mm-hmm.
core
Mm-hmm.
system, my actual values, and what I do, and is it like just in terms of, again, a facade, or do I actually apply all those things, and do I live
Beautiful.
it?
Beautiful.
Do I live the voice that I have? It's very easy to say, like I said, that, say something and do something completely opposite. So power
Hmm.
of voice, I definitely feel, is how much are you using your inner voice, your inner self, which is actually radiating outside, and you are doing it. That is
Beautiful.
what comes to me.
Something which we have the concept of congruency, that what
Yes,
and what you feel is exactly how you portray yourself in front of people. Beautiful.
true, true. Yeah.
Okay, so
Everything
where
is
are you taking us
all
from? Ferguson College, Pune, clinical psychology's timeline. Now, where are you taking us next in the journey, Shweta?
yeah. So after that, I got married, and I started working in a hospital in Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw quite a few things which bothered me. I didn't agree, and I did not enjoy being in a certain setup, because you have I was a new joinee, and you have
So I'm so sorry, I'm
seniors.
interrupting you. I forgot to ask you, what got you interested in psychology, Shweta? Why you wanted to become a clinical psychologist, and how you even became aware that there is a role, there is a there is a designation, or there is a responsibility, or some whatever. There is this label called a clinical psychologist. How you got that?
Okay.
Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so I personally did not first. My first thing was definitely not clinical psychology. I wanted to do
Mhm.
criminal psychology.
Oh,
And yeah, but
I always
again, there
get those
was.
vibes from you. Now I know.
Imagine I play also all shooting games.
For a very long period of time, I was very interested in forensics, criminal forensics, and
Oh wow. Yeah,
but
it's
somehow
very
I became aware
fascinating.
that I can't bear blood. So I'm like, dude,
Okay.
find some.
Yeah, but then in forensics, yeah, again, there are so many segments,
Uh-huh.
what do you want to do? Criminal psychology, I think it's a huge, huge area. And then there are so many subdivisions as well. And in our country, obviously, there is nothing of criminal psychology, which is there. It is in few universities now, one or two courses are available.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I then was given a choice, like you have to choose
But
specialization. And I
why?
was like,
But why? Even if I try to understand your why, what was your why behind criminal psychology, or forensics for that matter, and not clinical psychology? Why were you?
yes,
What's your
I
why?
will. Yeah, so it used to fascinate me that, say, someone who has
You used to
say
watch some serials when you were young.
no, 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 absolutely not,
You
absolutely
did,
not.
you used
We
to
didn't have
read
any
some
TV.
some mystery novels and all. Were you into Alfred
No, 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 no. In
movies? You were
fact,
crime, thriller, noir.
no,
What
no,
what
no.
shaped you into going towards crime and criminals and understanding the psyche of criminals and all?
Yeah, so I'll tell you why. Because Dr. Kiran Bedi, right?
Mhm,
And she
mhm.
used to be, so as a child, I think everyone, majority of the people, majority of us Indians really have her as a role model.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so I would really, be very fascinated. There was a time I wanted to be an IPS officer.
Oh
But
wow.
पढ़ाई बहुत करनी थी.
So IPS, again you are saying IPS, not IAS. So
Yeah.
always had this fascination of catching criminals.
No, no, no. I don't think it's all no. So so when she her work and her work tenure in Tihar jail, You
Uh-huh.
know, you have convicts over there, whether they are murderers, rapists,
Uh-huh.
or
She made them
burglars.
pray. She made them study. I've seen that video of her
It's
on TED, and even doing
I don't. Yeah,
navigate
so
through her channel, and
it's
I got a lot
yeah.
of
So
coaching tips from her.
right. So there is one thing that the crime has been committed.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that it's a great crime or it's a good thing that they have done, but what inspired me from her was that, TK, it's done. Now, what is it that we can do to make their life better? At least understand the kind of mindset they were
Wow.
in that pushed you,
Hmm.
right? See, nobody is bad. It's just that sometimes time and circumstances are such that we'll end up taking certain decisions, or we'll end up doing something, some actions which are not good in our favor or in terms of society. So, okay, the act has been done. Now, what can we do to make it better? What can we do to understand and make this person go through, a change and not repeat himself or herself over and over again? So that is where my psychology came, because she had very nicely used that, हो गया, अब क्या उनको मारते रहें, अब पनिश करते रहे, जेल में तो है ही ना, they are already there. So how can we reform them? What are the ways you can work? At least understand their mindset, understand their thing and why they were pushed. So that is how the psychology bit came.
Wow.
आईपीएस तो छूट गया था ना, क्योंकि उसमें बहुत पढ़ना
Hmm.
पड़ता
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there was not much. So that's when psychology and definitely criminal
So I
fascinated me
think
because
then at this time, what I'm hearing you, this
Mhm.
word, it started resonating with you more, which was the understanding of the people who are there.
Right, right,
It
right.
might even be stemming from this belief or this void that there were times when you were young when people were not able to understand.
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely bang on. And that is, and before, so obviously Kiran Bedi, we all used to talk to Kiran Bedi. I'm talking as if she's my pal. So, so again, this is the time when I'm talking about the school time and when she was, there. And then in 11th standard, I had my psychology because that is the first time I was introduced to the subject of psychology.
Hmm.
And the teacher I had was Ma'am Fiona Scott. And she was brilliant, the way she used to say. And once she had just, spoken to me regarding, because again, I was the typical, ye to the pede hain, koi, you don't need to focus. And she was a new teacher who wanted to, treat every child the same, and she left a huge mark on
Impact.
me. And
Hmm.
yeah, and she was like, no, you do you, I understand. She was the only one teacher in my life span of from fourth grade to 12th grade. I was there, who actually sat with me, heard me, and understood, that okay, fine, as a child, what all the bullying, the uh, homesickness, and felt that
Wow.
loneliness, that
Hmm.
void. She was the
And
only one.
even as a child, when you get a lending ear, they
Right.
who is giving you their attention, their time, they are giving that investment in you. You just feel as if you are getting healed at that time.
True, true. Sometimes, we just need that someone listening, or even don't listen, just hug us. Hota nahi hai
Ah,
ki
beautiful.
sometimes even silence works wonders. And she was the only one. And I think, and there on, I was like, I did so exceptionally well in my grades. I can't believe it. But
Mhm,
then
mhm.
just by listening to me, so she was the first one. And obviously, Dr. Kiran Vidya, I used to listen to her. IPS to banna chhoot gaya tha. So I was like, ye ghus jate hain. And then obviously, when I was in Pune, I met some wonderful people. I had my friend who was going through paranoid schizophrenia, and her family dynamic, how it changed. They were so different before she was diagnosed and how it became after. So a lot of things I was like, okay, fine. And because there was not anything available in our education system about criminal psychology, so I did clinical, and then I came
But this
to
is so sad. I'm feeling so sad that there is nothing in the system with regard to criminal psychology per se. And I have seen so many documentaries and movies on Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer and all these Ramiras and all these serial killers and sociopaths and psychopaths, but nothing with regard to that understanding is there in it. in Indian society per se, or Indian clinical society.
Yes.
It's so sad.
No, it is horribly sad situation. That's what I said. Now, I think in the last 1 or 2 years, few, I'm forgetting the names. I will definitely let you know. But there are few, one or two universities that have introduced,
Mhm.
the kind
So,
of,
like in FBI, we have the behavioral science department, which was also shown in the movie Silence of the Lambs, uh,
Mhm.
and Dr. Lecter and all. Is
Dr.
this
Hen,
very
yeah,
similar
Hannibal
to
Lecter.
that in India? Something which is there in India?
You're saying what? Someone
A
similar
kind
like
of a
Dr. Hannibal?
behavioral science department. Is there?
We have
Mhm. Mhm.
we have in the clinical aspect of behavioral science, and all that is there, but it is very in a very limited manner. It is not very often you will see all doctors that are there. They all have gone eventually abroad to get more study.
Okay. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, if you see their qualification and all that, they have all gone outside and studied more.
And I think most of these people, they go through this process of brain drain, because when you are getting those amenities there outside India, and
Hmm.
aware that what kind of a research is happening and what kind of opportunities can be given to you, what kind of material is there, what kind of practice that you can do there, automatically the brain drain starts happening, and which is happening.
True.
It's a freaking long period of time.
Yes, yes. In fact, outside, when you go pick up any field of psychology or whatever, and say whether you're doing PhD or a PsyD, it's very categorically mentioned that, these many hours of classroom study and sorry, your, yeah, after a certain few hours of study, like in the whole tenure, you have to work as well. And there are again hours allotted that you have to show those many hours of work in terms of your training, what you have done. Like we'd say internship over here for lawyers and, doctors, medical students who go. So, yeah, so in the PhD, and especially in terms of psychology, there is very mandatory uh, study hours as well as work hours, which you have to show, and only then will you be a certified, PhD holder or a.
So right now, a case is going on. One of my dear friends, she's a cyber forensics expert and a student in Mumbai per se, and she's right
Mhm.
now doing a lot of research on this case, on the Shraddha Walker case. You must be familiar with that.
Yes, yes, yes,
What
yes.
do you feel that there is a limitation in the Indian psychology, clinical psychology, forensics department, CBI, whatever that is there, where they can navigate through the case in the right manner to find out the nuances and find out what exactly is the why, the how, and the what of the criminal mind which is there. What's your take on it?
So I don't know much about the case right now, but then see, one thing I feel, the media. I don't know. Whatever I have known about the case so far is through the various media channels, right?
Mhm.
The news channels. Now everyone will give a certain different story.
Mhm.
I right now, whatever we have, the little bit of whatever we have in terms of the forensic department, it's doing very well, and they are very very thorough with it, and they give very good reports. But then again, in our country, I personally feel there are 10 people to come and put you down and say that no, this is not right.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
जैसे like I've had heard, it's like इतने टुकड़ों में है, but when you have so many body
I
parts,
think
like
you're talking
small
about the
things.
crab culture that we have in the Indian society.
Yeah, now to understand his psyche, why he did, and whether it was in a spur of the moment or it
What
was a
I have
premeditated.
navigated through the case, I feel he is a kind of a psychopath, because the
Okay.
way he has portrayed his behavior, for example, he was ordering food for two people so that he can fool people. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
while he had cut down the pieces of the girl and stuffed them in the freezer, he again dated another girl from Bumble or whatever that app website is, on that dating app, and he made love to that girl while his ex girlfriend, or the girl that he killed, her pieces are in
Mm-hmm.
the freezer. So this a normal person cannot do all these things.
Absolutely, you need to be a completely emotionally bankrupt or a numb person that you have the audacity to do something. Even I have known about it. But then, so definitely that is completely psychopathic and sociopathic. It doesn't allow. In that terms, yes, he is. But now to put him into a category that whether he is a serial or he would be a serial killer, I'm sure he could be if given, if he was let loose and um, not been caught. But yeah, this is something. But then
But there's
again, there's
another
another
angle that people are
scenario.
putting.
Yeah,
There's another angle what people are putting is that because he was unemployed, he recently
unemployed.
found a job.
So,
There were a lot of
all right,
tensions in the family. There were a lot of tensions in their relationship because
different religion.
he
Yes.
was into pan sexuality, or he was into polyamorous relationships, and the girl did not like that, and he was into domestic violence and all. So I feel these are all traits of a psychopath because you're trying to manipulate the other person. And even I have gone through a phase where I got unemployed. I
Mm-hmm.
Because during COVID, so many people got unemployed. I got unemployed. And then I started my own venture. But I never had this thought inside my head that I want to do some harm to the society. So we can keep on having a conversation about this. But my major thing that I wanted to ask you, Shweta, because you are a clinical psychologist, have you ever encountered
Mm-hmm.
a person having very similar idiosyncrasy or behavior, psychopathic or sociopathic traits and all, and how you dealt with them if you have navigated through them?
Uh, yes, I have had.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say to an extent of killing or murdering someone, not to that extent. But yeah, I've met not just one, I've met many, whether it
Mhm.
is they were my clients or, and to an extent, some I was petrified that I had to stop the counseling in between.
Oh,
They
wow.
actually
Mhm.
scared me. So, but then again,
What was
even with
that?
this,
What was that thing that they did that made you scared?
just
If it is not
having
something very personal, if
absolutely,
it is not something very personal, or
no, no, no,
just because I know
no.
being a psychologist, you might be having an NDA with the client.
Yes, yes. So that's why I'm not naming, but then it's just that having a total disregard to
Mhm.
what you are saying, having a total disregard, I think, forget about the other person, but there are few who will have a total disregard, even what they may feel guilty for a little few seconds after, but then having that completely no emotion within themselves,
Oh my God.
whether you do it to a human being or to, even animals, but then just having absolutely no respect, that is where it comes. I think that is the first red flag, where you have absolutely zero respect for anything around you,
Have you ever felt
anyone.
that sense of fear that you're sitting in
Yes,
a room
yes, I have.
and there is a person in front of you and there is no one else, and it's a very confidential kind of a conversation which is happening, and there might be certain triggers or anchors that the person would be having that you would be completely oblivious about because you're still trying to know and understand the person. Have you ever had
Yes,
that sense of
yes.
security or fear, or that person can harm you? Because this profession actually deals with these things a lot.
Yes, and sometimes, so that is why even when you're counseling, there is a lot of, it's not just the clients, which is uh, NDA. It's like even we don't give our personal information because you need to draw a line. Because lot many times we get clients that will be like, oh, but if I need help, I need to give you a call. And then what?
Hmm.
Right? And so again, this is like really, I
And they
did
can
something
they can
really.
like start calling whenever, as per
Calling, they
whims
will
and
stalk
fancies.
you.
They will
Yes, they
stalk
will
you. Oh my
stalk
God.
you.
Have you
Yeah,
gone through something like that?
I have. So I went through an
Oh my
episode,
God.
and this is again, ages back in the year 2009. But then I wouldn't blame the other party. It was just like somewhere I got so personally also I was going through some things, and that is why I think I did not really pay attention to my the way I should be holding towards my client. So the mother of one of my client was like, oh beta, and I became so sensitive. I was like, okay, auntie, if there is something, you can give me a call and let me know.
Oh.
And I
What I
think
hear you
that
say
is
is that
the,
handling the emotional contagion, Shweta, and also cutting
you have to,
at the same
yes.
time.
See,
Both the
you,
things, the balance
yes.
is very important. Hmm.
We need to, whenever you're doing anything with psychologist, psychiatrist, anything, you need to have, make yourself aloof. You cannot have that kind of emotional attachment. You may feel,
Hmm. Hmm.
that yes, they are talking. It's more, sometimes it's more of talk therapy. They are venting out. But then we as a person, we are not, we are always told that please do not get connected to us or in such a way, because it's not just harmful to us, but it is also harmful to the client, because you need to eventually wean them off. The whole
Hmm.
idea of any therapy is that the person becomes better, they are able to handle themselves, and they don't need us, not just us, but then they're able to conduct their life, go around with their life the way they want. They don't need someone at the back always. So
Hmm.
it's very important to do that weaning off also. So obviously you cannot get really emotionally attached and feel that way. Yes, some clients are very good, some are extremely terrifying as well, and the moment you draw that line, it happens. I
How
think
do
that
you
time I
handle
had.
how do you handle bursts of anger while you are with them in the session? Because you must have gone through that.
No, not really. I haven't gone through bursts of anger, but yes, I have had
Not
people
you,
who
not
have.
you, but the client, how you handle their burst of anger. Because they become very passionate when they're talking about their own story and they feel as if they are the victim. Some people might be.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say
Mhm.
it's burst of anger, but I think it's more to do with the, you know about NLP. So when you're doing the timeline, when they are starting to relive that moment, obviously there is
Mhm,
going to be
mhm.
those burst of emotion,
Yeah.
whether it is
Mhm.
sadness, whether it is pain, anger, because and at that point it is more to do anger within themselves, that oh, how could I go through this?
Oh.
It's
Mhm.
not that
So
how
it's a
dare
kind of a
someone.
reflection. They are doing a self-reflection.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh my God, and that is there. But you need to immediately change that, submodality, or change that state, by, shifting it. Like you probably look at something else, talk or divert.
Mhm, mhm.
Happens, but they become fine. It's not that they'll go completely crazy for that 1 hour. They don't. But yeah, those minutes are there. And but we discuss, okay, fine, you've been telling me, but then you will also tell me, what did you learn? Or what is it that you want to do? It's it out. So it happens for a few minutes. It's not like that it'll continually, at least I have not had anyone going through that thing, barring from a schizophrenic person that I met who went into that pit, and that was bad, and it had nothing to do with me controlling. But then yeah,
So
those
how
pits of
these
regret.
experiences with these different people,
Mhm.
how have they shaped you as a person, Shweta?
The way they have shaped me is very clearly that we all need to let go. We keep
Mhm.
simmering, we
Oh,
keep
beautiful.
things,
I
our
love that.
pain and
Mhm.
within us, and because we are keeping it, we are not talking it about it. We are, because even to talk about it, sometimes we judge. More than judging others, we start judging ourselves, and that is where all these repressed and suppressed emotions, they are going to come out in some different and crazy manner. And that's when we are not able to take control, and that's when we lose it. So to let go is very, very important. Yes, it's very difficult, it's a long process, but letting go of your pain points, the painful events, the emotional baggage, we all have emotional baggages, each and every one, and we need to let go of it. Letting go of that baggage is so important, because it is good for our own mental health. And once you're mentally healthy, you will, your body is also going to be healthy. So letting
Beautiful.
go, I think, is the first step, and
Letting go.
accepting, yes, there is an issue.
Beautiful. Love this. So these are certain nuances with regard to you being a clinical psychologist. Where are you
Mhm.
us next in the journey?
Well, the next thing was, I did NLP, and then I did genetic brain profiling,
Mhm, mhm.
which was, I think, very, very interesting again to me, because I always wanted to learn. Us brain is one subject, an organ of our body, which is very, very complicated. we still don't know so much, and there is still so much to know. It's
Mhm.
one of the gadgets which the more you learn, the more interesting it
So
becomes.
I am hearing this word for the first time. Genetic brain profiling. If you can talk a bit more about this so that the listeners can also understand what exactly this is.
So genetic brain profiling is all about, it's done through our fingerprints, the five
Fingerprints.
fingers.
Oh wow.
Yes, it's done. And so it's the
So
study
Shweta is
shows
like, so
basically.
what? So what? I did not go into IPS. So what? Criminal psychology. So what? I did not
Yeah.
go into forensics. I still can navigate through your fingerprints. That is something which I'm doing, which was very similar to what I could have done. Is that one of the reasons you? Someone is like, there is something called GBP, Shweta. Would you be interested? No, I am not interested. We navigate through the fingerprints. Yeah, yeah. Sign me in.
Yeah. No. No, the moment, like I said, the brain, the brain
Uh-huh.
thing came, and to know about it. And it was, I didn't know initially that it's done through fingerprints.
Wow,
Um,
man. Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, the void I always felt like I still feel that I need to learn a lot, and I'm not a person who is, knowing it all. There's so many people around me who know so much, and I'm like fascinated. It blows my mind that how do they have so much of knowledge? So since I was doing not, there was always a challenge. I was a, mother, single mother, and I had a small child. I always wanted to, know something, how I can make a better learning environment for her,
Hmm.
nurturing environment for her.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
we all say, "Arey kash, हमको पहले बताया होता."
Hmm.
I think we all, whether you have it or not, but I used to really have that. I wish I was told this at the right time,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So that once I became a mother and I used to see kids, and I was like, I can't do anything wrong over here. Not that everything right I need to do, but then how can I make her future? How can I nurture the child better way in just minutest way? I don't want to do move heaven and earth. And that's when genetic brain profiling, I got to know about it,
Hmm.
where it talks about the brain design, how all the, we are either left brainers or right brainers, how we need to create a balance, how every lobe, the prefrontal lobe, the frontal lobe, the parietal, because brain is not just working in isolation, the lobe is not. All of them are working, but in together, how we, are in our life, how we take our decisions, how we learn, how is our learning style, what is a sensory preference of learning styles, what is our core personality, are we very logic driven, or are we very
Hmm.
creatively bent, who are divergent thinking, or are we convergent thinking?
Hmm. Hmm.
So these things, it gives a very detailed and a very beautiful report, and it tells in a very nice way that how you can nurture. Obviously, if we can get ours also done, but we are able to understand so much that, oh, this is happening to us, or we thought in this manner, or I have made this decision in my life today, or wherever I am in my life today, is because my brain design was this, because I was inherently, my core was, to do something like this. Whether, and that's why we see, engineers, parents have forced their kids to do engineering, they're doing so well, and then suddenly someone so successful doing so well, and they're like, I left it, मन नहीं था, like it just didn't feel right, because eventually we will all go back to our core, what we want, what our actual brain design is, where it is bent.
Hmm.
And imagine having
I
something
think
like
in
this.
neuroscience we call them the bumps and the bump theory, where the bumps are there on the head. The
Yeah.
concept of the phrenology also comes, how your skull is structured in a certain manner. Because I was reading an article in neuroscience, and I think
Mhm.
GP can be called an application of neuroscience.
Absolutely, it is one of the tool, so it's a tool which will tell you in great details, and you can go on and on and on, because there's still so much of studies going on it. And the reason why it is done through fingerprints is because they say your fingerprints are unique to you. There is no one else in this world
Hmm.
having the same fingerprint. And while your brain is getting developed from 13th to 14th week, in the womb, that is how the fingerprints start forming, you know. So that is the connection they do. And then they say, we like, even in from a crime scene, why is the fingerprint picked? Just from fingerprints, there is a psychological profiling done that, okay, fine, so and so person will be having this traits,
Wow. So
right?
from your
Yeah.
fingerprints, you can become aware about the personality of a person.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have watched so many, you were saying, documentaries on
Uh-huh.
serial killers and all that. So you will see that, they will be doing, because they do not have a face, they don't have anything. And while there will be psychologists, psychiatrists who will be just through fingerprints